40 acres out here in Butte, Montana. My name is Miles McLaughlin. At Wilco Land, what we do is we buy and sell raw, ideally unique and epic properties, right? So we buy and sell raw land. We do offer more of a self-service model. In this video, I'm going to go over a lot of FAQs I'm going to get on this property. I'm going to talk about access, how you can go view a property of ours, and a little bit more about what I know in the background of this piece of land here. So what we're looking at is a property just south of Butte, Montana. I'm going to pull up the GPS coordinates here in a second. I'll get back to the photos to go over those with you. But the big thing I want to talk about on this property is going to be access. The target audience here for this piece of land is going to be for recreational use, an off-grid cabin, or maybe an investor who has deep enough pockets to say, hey, I'm going to buy this property. I'm going to use it for recreation. I'm going to hike in and things like that. And I'm going to figure out a legal easement in the future. Maybe it's with an attorney. Maybe you know that process and how to do it. But the first thing I'm going to do here is pull the GPS coordinates off the listing. And I'm going to pull it up on Onyx Maps. That's my favorite app to use for land viewings. And so I've got it pulled up here. It's as simple as that. I've got a tutorial on the blog page about how to use Onyx Maps for successful land visits. So, looking at this property, it's technically adjacent to Deer Lodge Nat'l Forest. So I'm going to talk about, number one, there is hike-in access. You may be able to get a permit or an easement from the Forest Service to use this or to put a road in here. That's not out of the question. Like I said, these are value add projects, right? We have the property priced with challenging access in mind, or less than ideal access in mind is a way to put it. Your access point is going to be on this corner here. This is plenty wide for a road. I can draw it out here using Onyx Maps. You can see that's about 66 yards wide, almost a football field. So you can access, there's a lot of access points down here. You can see there's a day use area, Kirby day use area, Sagebrush Flats. I'll pull it up on Google Earth here in a second too. You can see there's a hiking trail that gets you really close, and there's a utility line. This looks like some sort of old road or maybe a utility easement. Maybe there's power lines running through here, but this gets you about 100 yards from the property too, right? So you can take this path right here. It looks like you could probably take. You can take this trail and hug the Forest Service path right here to go access this land. Something that's interesting, it looks like people have accessed this in the past. This may be on the property. There may have been an old mine or an old off-grid cabin on the property. People will build on these type of properties, dry cabins, wood burning stoves. You see them up in the Forest Service cabins all the time. So I've got some great drone imagery on it. And I'll kind of go back over Onyx. You can see all these public access points down here, right? You got Milwaukee Road Trail. You've got Lion's Den. This area is south of Butte. And let me pull it up on just Google Maps here to give you a bird's eye view. Like I said, the big thing I'm going to talk about in this video is access and potential parking spots. Like I said, it is in the listing here, potential parking spots here to go access the property. Maybe you can take a dirt bike up there, an ATV. You'll have to talk to Forest Service about that. I don't know all the rules, but we're just south of Butte, Montana, next to Table Mountain. There's a ton of recreational areas. You can actually get in here and see a lot of street views. Like I can go down here and see Lower's Eagle Nest, and you can get on Google Earth Street Views and see a lot of different imagery down here. So again, just showing you guys how you can kind of explore the area on Highway 2 here. I can drop in on Thompson Park. You can see it's a beautiful area. This would be a great property for hunting, for recreation, backcountry skiing, things like that. So again, I'll pull it up on Google Earth so you guys can get a look at the topography of the property. But I want to mention, the other access route here that I don't have confirmation on easements is going to be really from the west. I mean, this looks like a really good potential access route along this easement line. Get with an attorney. I don't know what a landowner's rights are to obtain that easement. Maybe your neighbor will offer it to you for an X amount of dollars, right? Maybe somebody from the north end. Maybe you can get an easement from the north end. Maybe you can come in off this way, right? I don't know. That's the value add project of this listing. We have it priced that there is no access. And I go over some of that here in the listing. There's a lot of properties on Zillow, and I'll pull it up here in a second, showing you guys the value. I'll do this at the end, showing you guys value. This probably is a 3 to 4x land investment based on Zillow comps. If you do figure out access or put a driveway into the property, you're sitting on $500,000 property right south of Butte. So like I said, or close to, there's a lot of value added here. Right now, it's a fun recreational property you can use for hunting, for camping. You can see the land here, for an off-grid cabin, or pure investment in the state of Montana outside of Butte here. It is one of the more affordable markets in the area. So we talked about GPS coordinates. I do have the property pulled up here on Google Earth, so you can see the topography. We're south of Butte. There's a lot of different imagery and cool old mines out here. And I'll pull it up. You can see these little images on Google Earth as I pull them up here. So let's see what they look like. Just kind of giving you guys an idea. There may be some roads that come back into the property. Like I said, you could potentially take this in there. I mean, it kind of looks like a power line easement, but I'm just not sure. So you take that in and you hike up here to get over to this side of the mountain range. Probably the best route is hiking in off Forest Service on the top to get to the top of this ridge. And it looks like, so take a peek at this. This is going to be an adventure. So those people who want to go visit the property, it's going to be kind of an adventure. Look at, this is Forest Service. There is some sort of road that people have taken up to this ridge. And I don't know where it originates. You'd have to kind of follow it through. But there's some sort of road that takes you to this ridge line. Do you see that? And so you take this ridge line then over to the property and down in here. So that's your access point. Again, this would make a lot of sense for an easement to access a property in here. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, I don't have documentation on that easement. In a worst case scenario, you have a hike-in property, you have a fly-in property, and we have it priced accordingly. As always, we're open to people. If you are serious about this, we're open to doing something with you in terms of price. We do offer seller financing and cash discounts for cash buyers. So again, just kind of browsing through the listing here, you can see south of Butte, we've got Thompson Park. I can pull that up. There's a lot of history in this area around Butte. And lastly, I wanted to talk about, utilities, things like that. The property is unzoned. There's no restrictions on it. That's a big thing. When it comes to utilities, it's probably going to be tough to get a well or a septic put in the property without a road to access it. So you're looking at a dry cabin, like I said, yurts, teepees, kind of using it for recreation, things like that. And there's a big market for those type of properties. So, camping's allowed. Like I said, there's no restrictions on the property. You're going to use the GPS coordinates to go view it. I brought those up here on Google Earth. I do have a link to download it on Google Earth. You can click that and it'll open up this file that I'm looking at right here. The next thing I want to show you about is Zillow. Just checking out comps. You can see people are selling other mining claims, other landlocked properties like this that have hike-in access. I've got it dialed in on land. Even if I zoom into the area, remember this area is right here where we're located, this property right here in the corner. So, just an acre selling for $100,000 down there. You've got 9 acres for $2 million. It truly is. And I'll do like an acreage. I'll add a filter here to get us some larger acreages. So a minimum of 5 acres, max of 100 acres, let's say. There's not a lot for sale. I'll remove this boundary to look in this mountain range, but arguably, we're selling 40 acres. I don't know if this has access. You'd have to look into it, but it looks like it does have an access road that gets you up there potentially going through it, looking at the listing. So, this is $300,000 for a property with really rough. This would have similar access if you can get some sort of permit from the Forest Service, or if you can get an easement from your neighbor. That would be a lot better access, but from Forest Service, that's pretty similar to what that looks like. This 20 acre, I believe, does not have good access. This is just a hiking trail, I believe, on Onyx. I don't think you're driving in on this. If you are, great. But again, just a 10 acre property with probably really difficult access here too, going for 175. I think I had a comp in the listing that had a property without access up here. So this is hike and access only. It's an 11 acre property with a ton of activity. Just 60 days on Zillow and 83 saves. That's a ton of activity on Zillow. And this property does not appear to have access. So this is just a hiking trail that comes in here. So that's something to keep in mind. There is a market for these type of properties. There's a bunch of them selling back here. You can see a bunch of old mining claims. So I think we're really competitive and arguably a much better location, going back to my filter I have on with acreages here. I mean, we're looking at a 10 acre in the boonies here. Really a different type of property going for 130 and just a ton of activity, right? So there is a property, let's see here, that does have access in this general area. And so you're looking, like I said, a 6 acre down here at Table Mountain for 275. So if you can get access to this property, I mean, like I said, your investment goes 3-4 times what you're buying the property for. So, take a peek at Zillow. I always find that really helpful. If you are interested, let's have a conversation about the property. Like I said, it is more of a self-service model. Feel free to go view on your own. My name is Miles at Wilco Land. I do have some other properties out here in Montana, out in Sanders County, along the Clark Fork River, places like that. So get with me if you do have questions, 605-250-1256. Thanks for viewing.